You never truly understand someone until they believe you're not listening. People say the real version of someone comes out when you're not around to hear what they say. In my case, it happened when they didn't realize I was just a few steps away, silent, listening from the hallway. Maya and I had been in a relationship for nearly 2 years. We first met at a New Year's Eve party through mutual friends. From the start, the connection felt effortless. At least, that's what I believed. She was sharp, driven, full of charm, and had a kind of quick-witted humor that made every conversation feel like a spark. Maya had a high-powered job in marketing, working for a prestigious firm. I was in cybersecurity, not flashy, but solid work that I enjoyed and that paid the bills. Our relationship felt steady and genuine. After 8 months, we decided to move in together. It wasn't rushed. It felt natural. We worked well as a team. We had what we called an open device policy. It wasn't about surveillance or suspicion. We knew each other's passwords, synced calendars on the same cloud account, backed up our photos there, and even shared logins for streaming platforms. It was a convenience thing, not a control thing. Maya wasn't particularly comfortable with tech, so I often managed her devices, clearing space, updating software, recovering lost files. Just small gestures that showed I cared. Then everything shifted one evening. It was last month when we were invited to a housewarming party at Rachel's new condo, one of Maya's close friends. The place was nice, located downtown, with good food, steady drinks, and a crowd mostly made up of Maya's circle. I recognized most of them by name, though I wasn't close with any. About 2 hours in, I stepped out onto the balcony to take a call from my brother. After we finished talking, I started making my way back inside. As I passed the hallway near the kitchen, I heard Maya's voice. She sounded cheerful, almost playful, but the words coming out of her mouth hit me like a punch. He's sweet, yeah, but honestly, he's just dull sometimes. Same thing every day, work, gym, dinner, bed. Over and over. It's like clockwork. I froze. She was in the kitchen with a few of her friends, clustered around the island and laughing over margaritas. I was standing just beyond the doorway, hidden but close enough to catch every word. Is at least the sex good? Someone asked, laughing with a tipsy slur. It's okay, Maya answered. Nowhere near what I had with Brandon, but he tries. Brandon. Her ex. The same man she once described as an unstable mess she was grateful to be done with. Another friend chimed in. Then why are you still with him? Because he's dependable, she said with a shrug. He pays for stuff, fixes my tech problems, doesn't ask too many questions. He's safe. They all laughed. Not just Maya, all of them. Then came the part that really shattered something inside me. Honestly, Maya said, I'd cheat if I thought I could get away with it. Hell, maybe I already am. He's so oblivious. More laughter. Except mine. I walked into the kitchen calmly, quietly. Every head snapped toward me, the laughter evaporating into stunned silence. Eyes wide. Faces pale. Keys, I said, extending my hand toward Maya. She had driven us there, but she was clearly tipsy. Her voice wavered. Babe, I was just joking. I swear. You know how stupid I get when I drink. I didn't say anything. I kept my hand out, face unreadable. Eventually, she handed me the keys. The ride back was silent. She tried to talk, to twist the narrative, to explain, but I only gave short responses, just enough to make it clear that something had shifted permanently. Back home, she collapsed into tears. Claimed she hadn't meant it, that it was just drunk talk meant to sound funny in front of her friends. I told her we'd discuss it in the morning, once she sobered up. She seemed almost relieved, maybe thinking she still had a chance to repair the damage. She fell asleep quickly. I didn't sleep at all. Here's what people don't get about me. I don't lose my temper. I don't lash out. I don't make rash decisions. I gather information. I think. And then I move. The next morning, she was groggy, full of guilt and apologies. I smiled, played the role of the understanding boyfriend. I even made her breakfast and brought her Advil. She clung to the hope that the worst had passed. But I had already begun my process. That afternoon, while she showered, I accessed the shared cloud account. Yes, the same one she'd asked me to set up months ago to help her save photos and messages. What I found didn't leave much room for doubt. That offhand remark about maybe already cheating? It wasn't a joke. She was being unfaithful, physically and emotionally, with not just one man, but two. One of them was Jordan, a co-worker she had casually mentioned in passing once or twice. Their messages laid out detailed rendezvous, often disguised as business trips or client meetings. The other was Brandon. Yes, that Brandon, the ex she claimed was nothing but a lesson learned. Their chats weren't just about sex, though there was plenty of that. They were emotionally intimate too, filled with private jokes, memories, and confessions. It was all there. Everything I needed to know. I spent hours going through weeks of conversations, late-night selfies, hotel check-ins, even messages where she joked about how gullible I was. There was no need for spyware or hacking. Everything was right there in our shared cloud archive, accessible, mutual, and legally mine to review. Over the next several days, I compiled it all. Screenshots, text threads, location data. Every shred of information was saved and time-stamped, methodically sorted and stored. Then I reviewed our rental agreement. It was a month-to-month lease, with a clause that allowed either of us to terminate occupancy with 30 days' notice. I called our landlord and told him I'd be taking over the lease solo. I kept it polite and vague, just a change in living circumstances. Then I waited. That Thursday, Maya mentioned she'd be working late. I already knew what that meant. It was her usual excuse when meeting Jordan at the Hyatt. I left work a bit early and went home. There, I carefully packed her belongings into labeled boxes and placed them neatly in the spare bedroom. On the kitchen counter, I left a typed letter, an official notice ending our cohabitation, a 30-day timeline for her to vacate, and a check covering her portion of next month's rent. At 8:47 p.m., my phone rang. It was her. Why is all my stuff packed? What is this letter? What the hell is going on? She demanded. Check your email, I said, calm and measured. Then I ended the call. She immediately called back. I didn't answer. In her inbox, she found a folder, evidence pulled from our shared cloud, conversations with both Jordan and Brandon, exchanged photos, even the GPS history. All legally obtained. All undeniable. The email was short. Not as clueless as you thought. You have 30 days to move out. I'll be staying with a friend for the weekend. Please handle everything via email only. That night, the phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Dozens of missed calls. A flood of unread texts. The next morning, 37 missed calls. Over 50 unread messages. I blocked her number. 2 days later, Rachel, her friend, showed up at my door, fuming. What the hell is wrong with you? Maya's devastated. You had no right to go through her private stuff. Without a word, I opened my laptop and showed her a few excerpts, nothing graphic, just enough to make the truth impossible to ignore. Her expression changed instantly. The fire in her tone vanished. Her face fell. You knew? I asked. She whispered. Yes, no, I don't know. Then maybe hold off on defending her until you're certain who she really is. The fallout was quick. Word spread. Some people took her side, said I had gone too far. Others messaged privately, telling me they respected how I handled it, quiet, firm, and with undeniable proof. Maya tried every tactic. Rage, apologies, even vague legal threats. But eventually, a lawyer explained she had no case. The account was shared. I followed protocol. I gave her proper notice. Nothing she could touch. 2 weeks later, she sent me an email. I made a terrible mistake. Don't I deserve a second chance? I replied once. Some mistakes are irreversible. Some people don't get another chance. That was the last message I ever sent her. Months have gone by since then. I reclaimed the apartment, redecorated, and started rebuilding, emotionally, mentally, digitally. I changed every password, set up private accounts. I've become much more cautious about who gets access to my tech. Once burned, twice encrypted. Ironically, Rachel, the same friend who burst in furious, eventually reached out. She apologized. We got coffee. She admitted Maya had shown similar behavior in past relationships. She had stayed quiet out of loyalty. Loyalty is admirable, I told her, but only when it's mutual. Blind loyalty? That's just complicity. Some people still think I was too harsh, that I should have confronted Maya, opened a dialogue, given her another shot. Maybe I would have, if it had been one impulsive decision followed by genuine remorse. But this wasn't that. This was ongoing, intentional, repeated. That's not a misstep. That's a pattern. So I chose to walk away. I deleted the tracking app the day she left, not out of guilt, but because I knew I'd never let myself get to that point again. If a future partner ever jokes about cheating, I won't need proof. I'll already have the truth I need. Because at the end of the day, knowledge isn't just strength. It's self-preservation.